Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. It is 11:30, second video of the week. Got a couple things to review. Let's go ahead and dive right into it. Backdrop of the market, everything is up once again. This week, we've had release of CPI numbers and PPI numbers, which were yesterday. All the inflation data pretty much sucks. I can't really find much to really find positive. The market, I think, is front running a lot of War and Kevin Warsh, who was officially appointed as the Fed chair. The vote happened yesterday. He did make it. There was one Democratic person, Fetterman, who was the only Democrat that voted him in favor. So he's in. He takes over for Jerome Powell. Difficult in the climate to justify rate cuts, though I think he's going to take Trump's stance, and that means he's going to cut rates. I think he's going to do whatever Trump basically directs. I don't know if that is the positive move with inflation going the way it is, but I'm not an economist, and I'll leave that up to the professionals. I will say that elevated oil prices are creating quite a bit of havoc, and it's usually a 3 to 6 month process before you see it both on the positive and the negative. And what I mean by that is we should start seeing more and more negative inflation data because of elevated oil prices that started a couple months ago and is going to continue, where even if this gets corrected, it's going to take some months to see the positive reactions in inflation data. So if you don't know, oil is in everything and it affects inflation all the way around. And with that said, I'll start with oil today just to go on about this. So oil is down today, a half a point, whoop-de-doo. If I was looking at this chart from just a technical perspective, I buy this chart on the long side. As you know, I'm short oil. I added to my short 2 days ago. I did not add yesterday, but I added the day before. It's becoming very expensive to short oil. If you don't know, when you short stocks, you're paying a percentage to borrow them, basically, and it's gone up quite substantially, both on the USO and the UCO. I'm going to continue with my shorts. I have no plan on closing them. Reason being is I do think that this with Iran is going to get cleaned up soon. Trump right now is in China with CEO of Boeing, Tim Cook, Jensen from NVIDIA, a bunch of people, tons of CEOs. He's in China. I think that's a positive. Obviously, you'll see how the market looks at this. We'll start off with the NASDAQ, kind of jump into that. Today, a new all-time high. I swear every video I make is a new all-time high. The 50 is here, as you can see, right? I always look at how high above the 50 you are when you start to see that you're extended. We're riding the 5-day line, and we are, I think, 3% above the 21 and like 7-8% above the 50. Eventually, this 50 has to catch up with this. It's going to happen, and I promise you it will happen, whether through sideways digestion or a correction. It's going to happen. It is inevitable. Doesn't mean this can't go up higher for longer, but inevitably the 50 is going to catch up through digestion. So with that said, you have to be cautious on what you're buying and understand that you are buying some things that are potentially extended. That's why you take an approach per stock and you have your plan, because if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So with that said, yeah, a bit extended. Doesn't mean this isn't going to go up higher, but you have to be flexible. But strictly looking at this from just one stock perspective, if this was just one stock, I'd be like, it's hard for me to buy this right here. But just giving you context, because the tailwinds of the market are what helps you navigate. Gold down again today. Surprisingly, gold down again today. I really thought with the inflation data, gold would go up higher. As you know, I own GLD and GLDI, no intentions to sell. Not really trading this. It hasn't really done anything for me to get excited to trade. Bitcoin kind of teeter-tottering around this little ledge area, this kind of like shelf pattern that it's having, a lot of volume. I figured it would have problems here with overhead supply. This is a ton of overhead supply. So getting past this area, I think it's going to be difficult. I'm looking for 85 for one of my next sale targets. Not there yet. So I still think it looks healthy. I still think you're going to get somewhere between that fluctuation of 80 to 87, 88, but that's just my opinion, and that's how I'm playing it. Okay, we hit the NASDAQ, we hit gold, we hit that. The 10-year Treasury bond is lower today, still very elevated for those of you that follow that. That is the bond rate, kind of directly correlated to mortgage rates. Still terrible. Okay. So we've got the major indexes behind us. We know Trump is in China. We know Iran is still going. We know Kevin Warsh got appointed our new Fed chair, which I'm excited about that because I thought Jerome Powell was a putz. I used to call him Powell the putz. So we have that. We've had some great earnings the last week, which has given the market kind of forward trajectory. And so what I mean by that is Cisco reported yesterday. And I mean, this is an old school stock. It just made its first all-time high from the dot-com bubble a couple weeks ago. That's how long it's taken it to recover the dot-com bubble high. I'll say that again. It's been over 25 years it took to recover, and it was like around here. Anyways, great earnings really pushed that up. I think Qualcomm's up. These are not names that I know, but you get a lot of pen action. And when names like this that are movers of the market, when they report good earnings, it usually gives a good overall sentiment for the market. So just pointing that out, I don't own the stock. I've never owned Cisco. As you can see, every index now just propelling its way up. All right, so let's start. Let's jump into stocks now because that's what we trade and what we want to make money on. Let's touch on what we've done right, or rather what I've done right, what I've done wrong. Let's see what we can do to continue effectively making more money. I'm going to start off in the memory space because it's probably the hottest space and probably the most questions I ask. Micron is down today. I had mentioned since last week I was chipping a couple little pieces away from my position as they kept going up. And I continue to tell everybody, if you bought when I bought or you're in right around the same time, little pieces on the way up. Start trimming, moving your stop loss. I did just that. We had a pullback on Tuesday, pretty substantial. And I did buy some shares back of Micron only because it seemed to bounce right off this 5-day line. And those shares are in the green. Yesterday, Micron finished up 5%. The one thing I am noticing about Micron is having a really hard time with the psychological 800. And it just does not want to break through there. I think eventually it will. It's not financial advice, but rather for educational purpose. Yeah, I might get a little shit about that. But anyways, so Micron's still a buy. SanDisk having a much harder time than Micron. I think Micron has taken over becoming the mover of that memory space. The one thing I will say, if you look at these on a technical, what SanDisk does is it runs up, it makes this little ledge, and I've seen it do it now a couple times going back. It runs up, ledge, runs up, ledge. And I think it's going to do one of these basing out ledges, and I just don't know if I want to sit through that. I did admittedly sell basically all my shares yesterday. I kept a couple shares for just to have a little bit in it. This has been a great trade for me again. So anyways, I'm basically down to 25% of my original position. STX, another one, I think a little bit stronger in the same space. I think the one that is really surprising people is Penguin. I don't own Penguin, but man, this one is strong. You need to put this on your watch list. I think this one is going to really end up. I would not be surprised to see this at $80. Like, I know that's crazy, but this is just catching fire, and I'm starting to see a lot more rotation out of SanDisk, Micron, Western Digital into this name. And you could see it in volume. I mean, you could see this volume move, even though that day was the high. I don't own this, but it is on my watch list. I could see a situation where at least a small position. So Penguin might want to be on your watch list. I think I'm going to get you'd say that this is extended, but this is still early and it's trading at a multiple that's still relatively cost effective. Okay, moving on from the memory space. This is on my watch list. So if you want to add that to your watch list, what did I buy? So I bought Apple on Monday and calls. Those calls have worked out. I sold half the calls yesterday. I still have half now. They worked out over 30% trade on the call options that I bought. I still have half of them and they're still going. Bought Boeing and I'm down I want to say I'm down 3-4% on Boeing. I don't know. I know Basen said some things about Boeing, but they just, they won some stuff. I think this is personally, I think this is a buy. I mean, I'm down 2 or 3%. I'm not, worried. I think this is a buy. I think this is going to bounce off the 21. I think you could really look at this. I like the chart. I like the movement. Boeing is a buy, in my opinion. And I still own it, but I am down 3% on that. So a little patience is going to pay there. Litecoin, Jesus. Lumentum, Another name, people just keep calling me, huh? Lumentum Holdings. So I bought some on Tuesday on the dip day. I had been selling little. Well, I take that back. I bought, the last trade was on Friday. Monday, I mentioned when I made the video, I sold 20% on Monday at the end of the day. Tuesday, it came down about 8%. I bought that 20% back. And now that 20% is probably even. My original position is still up about 7-8%. I think this is also a buy. So I still own this, and I'm pretty happy with that. Rocket Lab is just, this is, I mentioned this on Monday. It's hard to trim this when I think this is going higher. I did sell 5% of this yesterday. So I sold 5% Monday, 5% yesterday. I have a 90% of my original position. Admittedly, if it keeps going up higher, I'll sell a little piece. But I mean, I think this is going to 150, though. Personally, I think this is going up higher. This is too strong. The volume is too strong. The pattern looks really good. The earnings were so good. It's hard to, like, when it goes back to when letting your winners win. This is a winner, and you have to let it do its thing. It has been waiting for this. People have been patiently waiting for this for months, and it finally did what we expected. Okay. Let's see what else we got. Oh, AMD. My neck is still. Sorry, guys. AMD has, I don't love the AMD chart right now. I do think it's going to make a little ledge pattern, but again, AMD does not look fantastic. Sorry, I had to pause there for a second. AMD, I've also been trimming, but there's a gap to fill here, and that's the only thing that concerns me. Whenever there's a gap to fill, I don't love that, so I can't advise to be buying this. Still going to be a winner. I mean, I still have about 70% of my, or 60% of my original trading position. I still think very highly of AMD long term. I own a lot of my IRA, but I would not advise, if you're a swing trader, to take a position here just yet. I say put it on your watch list. If you need confirmation, wait till it breaks out from the high. I mean, I hate to say that, but that's really the reality. TGTX has been kind of just frustrating for me. They had a great earnings, and it's just making this like high tight flag. I think it's going to make a high tight flag. I haven't cut anything, but just frustrating. I was hoping to see a little bit more movement on this, so I still own that. Okay. IMNM, so it had earnings, but it didn't move anything. And the reason is this is not the type of stock that earnings are going to really move. They're a buyout candidate. Eventually, they're going to get bought out, at least in my opinion. This chart still looks tremendous, but I know a lot of you don't have the patience. I get it. This is one of my favorites of 2026. I'm holding. It's my conviction name. I think this looks really good. The one thing I will say, it's kind of just hovering that 50. I understand the concern. I own it. I'm not telling you what to do. I own this on shares. I don't own options. So, okay. Oh, Intuit. Intuit's been good so far to me. It's my position. I think I mentioned it on Monday. Actually, I take it back. Intuit has not been that great to me. But anyway, so Intuit, yeah, it's got earnings coming up. Whew. Sorry, I should have these dates in order. May 20th. So next week, Intuit, I think they're going to do good. I still own this, probably even on the trade. Not much. What else we got? Oh, Primoris. So a lot of people ask me about Primoris. I did buy those calls. Those calls are up. So you can see from the earnings I mentioned on Monday, I think the 120 calls out to November, those are the ones I'm in. They're up. I'm still up on them. I bought them. You could see this kind of like little recovery. It's trying to do that. Don't expect it to get here. I highly, highly doubt it. This is going to have massive overhead supply in this area. Anyways, so I'm still in Primoris. I think those 120 calls, I'm up over 20% on them. I still think they're actionable. 120 out till November. That's up to you if you find that interesting or not. And I think that's all I'm holding. Hold on, let's take a gander here. Everything else is IRA based, riding my Bitcoin trade, still my oil short, SanDisk, like I said. Look, and I'm going to go back to this for a second because it's probably been the stock that's made a lot of money for a lot of people over the period of time. I'm not saying you can't buy it here. I just don't like buying things that don't have confirmation. And that's why I sold yesterday. Basically, I think I sold 50% of my position. I mean, I sold 25% at the end of last week, and I just didn't love the action. So here I am, 25% position. I mean, take it for, I mean, you see people sign the buy rating at 25.9. I mean, it's crazy. Anyways, so Penguin is one that's on my watch list for I didn't go to Dell. I'm sorry. I still have Dell. A lot of people have asked me about that. I did buy Dell on that pullback on Monday. That was here, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yes, that pullback is underwater by 2%, but I'm still up on my original purchases. I think Dell is fine. Pump your brakes, everybody. I think Dell is good. I think the CEO of Dell is, what's his name? Michael Dell. I think he's actually in China right now with Trump. I could be wrong, but I think he's there. Trump was touting around that you should buy Dell. I think Dell is well positioned to do really well. So I still own Dell. I'm not concerned about it. Give it some time, give it some patience. So Penguin is on my watch list. Looks like a constructive pullback. Should pay attention. I think I'm going to buy that. I don't know if I'm going to buy it today, so take that for what it's worth. Another one, and okay, I bought this yesterday. I didn't buy this yesterday. This looks fantastic. So I'm in this. I played this earlier or here. So I did great. I played this here. I remember. I think I sold it here, and I made like 20%. And this is why sometimes sticking with your conviction works. I sold it here. I think I made like 20. I mean, look, it ran all the way up. It went from like 50 something to 90 something when I sold it, or I didn't. I lost out on all that. Anyways, in any case, I bought this yesterday. This is up now 4 or 5%. If you're interested in that, I really like this one. And then finally, one to put on your watch list, which I think looks tremendous as well as Next Power. Constructive yesterday, high, pulled back. I have not owned this. I don't own it yet, but I think I'm going to buy this as well. And with that said, I think that's it. I'm going to continue trimming names that I have 50, 60, 70% profits in. And I talk about that. The reason I was up 70% on SanDisk, up over 70% Micron, up over 80% AMD. So, I have the luxury of trimming things. If things don't behave the way I want them to, I will trim. In any case, that's all I got for you today. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Keep an eye on the markets, set your stops, and I'll be back next week. Have a good one.